Welcome, kind listener. My name is Gentle Fox. You may not know me now, but by the end of this masterpiece, you will, and I trust you'll think of me as an old friend. What you'll be hearing tonight is an excerpt from our Twitch stream. I hope you'll enjoy that extra ambiance and my soft-spoken voice as we explore Leo Tolstoy's classic, Anna Karenina. Chapter 11. Levine finished his glass, and they were silent for a while. "There's one more thing I must tell you. Do you know Vronsky?" Stepan Arkadyevich asked Levine. "No, I don't. Why do you ask?" "Bring us another." Stepan Arkadyevich addressed the Tartar, who was filling their glasses and fussing around them precisely when he was not needed. "Why should I know Vronsky?" "You should know Vronsky because he's one of your rivals." "What is this Vronsky?" said Levine, and his face, from that expression of childlike rapture which Oblonsky had just been admiring, suddenly turned spiteful and unpleasant. "Vronsky is one of the sons of Count Kirill Ivanovich Vronsky, and one of the finest examples of the gilded youth of Petersburg. I got to know him in Tver when I was in government service there, and he came for the conscription. Terribly rich, handsome, big connections, an imperial aide-de-camp, and with all that, a very sweet, nice fellow. And more than just a nice fellow. As I've come to know him here, he's both cultivated and very intelligent. He's a man who will go far." Levine frowned and kept silent. "Well, sir, he appeared here soon after you left, and, as I understand, is head over heels in love with Kitty, and you understand her mother." "Excuse me, but I understand nothing," said Levine, scowling gloomily, and he at once remembered his brother Nikolai and how mean he was to have forgotten about him. Wait, said Stepan Arkadyevich, smiling and touching his hand. "I've told you what I know, and I repeat that in this subtle and delicate matter, as far as I can surmise, the chances seem to be on your side." Levine leaned back in his chair. His face was pale. "But I'd advise you to resolve the matter as soon as possible," Oblonsky went on, filling Levine's glass. "No, thanks. I can't drink any more," said Levine, pushing his glass away. "I'll get drunk." "Well, how are things with you?" he went on, obviously wishing to change the subject. "One word more in any event. I advise you to resolve the question quickly. I don't advise you to speak of it tonight," said Stepan Arkadyevich. "Go tomorrow morning, classically, make a proposal, and God bless you." "Haven't you always wanted to come for some hunting with me? So come in the spring," said Levine. He now repented with all his heart that he had begun this conversation with Stepan Arkadyevich. His special feeling had been defiled by talk of rivalry with some Petersburg officer, by Stepan Arkadyevich suppositions and advice. Stepan Arkadyevich smiled. He understood what was going on in Levine's heart. "I'll come sometime," he said. "Yes, brother, women, that's the pivot on which everything turns. And with me, too, things are bad. Very bad. And all from women. Tell me frankly," he went on, taking out a cigar and keeping one hand on his glass. "Give me your advice." "But what about?" "Here's what. Suppose you're married. You love your wife, but you become infatuated with another woman." "Excuse me, but I decidedly do not understand how just as I don't understand how I could pass by a bakery as full as I am now and steal a sweet roll." Stepan Arkadyev's eyes shone more than usual. "Why not? Sometimes a sweet roll is so fragrant that you can't help yourself." Himmlichst wenn in Beswungen, mein Idee schwer, aber doch, wenn's nicht gelungen, hat ich sukrak ups plastier. As he said this, Stepan Arkadyevich smiled subtly. Levine also could not help smiling. No. Joking aside, Oblonsky went on, understand there's this woman, a dear, meek, loving being, poor, lonely, and who has sacrificed everything. Now, when the deed is already done, understand, how can I abandon her? Suppose we part, so as not to destroy my family, but how can I not pity her, not provide for her, not try to soften it? Well, you must excuse me. You know, for me, all women are divided into two sorts. That is, no, rather there are women, and there are ones like that painted French woman at the counter, with all those ringlets. They're vermin for me, and all the fallen ones are the same. And the one in the Gospels? Oh, stop it. Christ would never have said those words if he'd known how they would be misused. Those are the only words people remember from all the Gospels. However, I'm not saying what I think, but what I feel. I have a loathing for fallen women. You're afraid of spiders, and I of those vermin. You surely have never studied spiders and don't know their ways. It's the same with me. It's fine for you to talk like that. It's the same as that Dickensian gentleman who threw all difficult questions over his right shoulder with his left hand. But the denial of a fact is not an answer. What's to be done, tell me? What's to be done? The wife is getting old, and you're full of life. Before you have time to turn around, you already feel that you can't love your wife as a lover, however much you may respect her. And here suddenly love comes along, and you're lost. Lost, Stepan Arkadyevich said with glum despair. Levine grinned. Yes, lost, Oblonsky went on. But what to do? Don't steal sweet rolls. Stepan Arkadyevich laughed. Oh, you moralist. But understand there are two women. One insists only on her rights, and these rights are your love which you cannot give her, and the other sacrifices everything for you and demands nothing. What are you to do? How act? There's a terrible drama here. If you want my opinion concerning that, I'll tell you that I don't think there is a drama here. And here's why. To my mind, love, the two loves that Plato, remember, defines in his Symposium, these two loves serve as a touchstone for people. Some people understand only the one, others the other, and those who understand only non-Platonic love shouldn't talk about drama. In such love there can be no drama. Thank you kindly for the pleasure, with my respects. There's the whole drama, and for Platonic love there can be no drama, because in such love everything is clear and pure. Because... Just then Levine remembered his own sins and the inner struggle he had gone through, and he added unexpectedly, however, it is possible. You're right. Very possible. But I don't know. I really don't know. So you see, said Stepan Arkadyevich, you're a very wholesome man. That is your virtue and your defect. You have a wholesome character, and you want all of life to be made up of wholesome phenomena, but that doesn't happen. So you despise the activity of public service because you want things always to correspond to their aim, and that doesn't happen. You also want the activity of the individual man always to have an aim, that love and family life always be one, and that doesn't happen. All the variety, all the charm, all the beauty of life are made up of light and shade. Levine sighed and gave no answer. He was thinking of his own things and not listening to Oblonsky. And suddenly they both felt that, though they were friends, though they had dined together and drunk wine that should have brought them still closer, each was thinking only of his own things, and they had nothing to do with each other. Oblonsky had experienced more than once this extreme estrangement instead of closeness that may come after dinner, and knew what had to be done on such occasions. "The bill!" he shouted, and went to a neighboring room, where he at once met an aide-de-camp of his acquaintance and got into conversation with him about some actress and the man who kept her. And at once, in his conversation with the aide-de-camp, Oblonsky felt relieved and rested after talking with Levine, who always caused him too much mental and spiritual strain. When the Tartar came with a bill for 26 rubles and change, plus something for a tip, Levine, who at another time as a countryman would have been horrified at his share of 14 rubles, now took no notice, paid and went home, in order to change and go to the Sherbatskys, where his fate was to be decided.